In this video, I'm going to teach you the 7 funding mistakes that are killing your approvals and getting access to more business funding. Let's begin. The first mistake that most of you guys are making in 2026 that you probably don't even realize is a mistake, number one, is that you think your LLC is a business when your LLC is just that. It's an LLC, right? What do I mean by that? A lot of you will go out and you'll apply for an LLC. So you'll apply for the paperwork, right? The articles of organization, but you don't have the other things that make your business look like a viable business in the eyes of lenders that you want to work with. Those things being business address, email, phone number, website, EIN, operating agreement. Why these are so important. One analogy I typically try and share with most people who are getting started and getting access to funding is this, right? Let's say, for example, you are looking for a business that you want to spend your hard-earned money with to provide you a product or service. Most of us will look at Google reviews, we'll look at, testimonials. We're crossing every T and dotting every I and crossing every T before we spend money with that business, right? Because we want to make sure that we're making good investment, especially if it's a lot of money. The lenders that you're looking to get money from are thinking about it the exact same way, because remember, a bank is a business. And like any good business, you want to make sure that you are getting a good return on your investment, because how banks make money is by loaning out money to us as business owners. With that understanding in mind, they're going to cross T's and dot I's. And if they see that you just have an LLC, but you don't have any of the other stuff that make you look attractive and like a legitimate business owner, it's not that you can't still get approved, but don't expect to get approved for a sizable amount of capital, right? Especially if you're talking about 25K, 50K and beyond. I tell people, just please follow this simple breakdown that I just provided here and use that to go ahead and structure your business and make sure that you don't just have an LLC, but you have a legitimate business that banks want to fund. Now, mistake number 2 is trying to build business credit. So this is for most of us who, when we first came in the space, we were taught that we need net 30 accounts, right? Quill, Granger, Uline, buying a bunch of miscellaneous items that we don't need. But to be quite honest with you guys, this method is outdated. If you have good personal credit, you don't need to build business credit. I'm gonna say it again. If you have good personal credit, you do not need to build business credit. Now, if you have bad personal credit, which is usually why most people want to build business credit to try and bypass having to use their personal credit report, most lenders still won't approve you for capital unless your business is showing that it's doing at least $1 million in revenue. I would much rather you go about the route of just cleaning up your personal credit report, because it's actually easier to do that than it is building business credit, making sure that it's properly structured and set up the way that it needs to be, which goes into actually mistake number 3, funny enough, which is that a lot of you right now are avoiding fixing your personal credit or avoiding using your personal credit instead of fixing it. At the time of the recording of this video, going into 2026, funding is still personal credit driven, unless there's been some changes that, once again, I'm not aware of at the time of the recording of this video. Funding is still personal credit driven. And if funding is still personal credit driven, trying to skip the personal credit process is the fastest way that you can get denied and just stay stuck in the same spot. Fixing credit right now is actually super easy compared to what it was, several years prior, because we have artificial intelligence like ChatGPT. So in terms of the structuring of your credit, we talk about it ad nauseum on this channel. You want to have at least 100% payment history. You want to have at least 10% utilization, 2+ years of credit history, no more than 3 inquiries on any credit reporting agency, and you want to have 3 to 5 cards with a 5K limit, right? Or 5K plus limit, really like 7,500. The reason why I say that is because of comparable credit, which is pretty much the credit that lenders are looking into to determine how much capital that they're going to give you on the business side. Now, if you have bad credit, 2 laws that you could use to go ahead and clean that up are going to be right here: 15 USC 1681EB and 15 USC 1681 I5A. You can plug both of these into ChatGPT and literally tell it, hey chat, please create me a dispute letter using these 2 laws to challenge this collection account I have with Discover, this charge off I have with Navy Federal, and explain that by law, if this account is not removed as it pertains to these 2 laws, or by law, this account should be removed as it pertains to these 2 laws. And from there, you'll get a custom dispute letter that you could actually send to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax to go ahead and have that removed. Now, mistake number 4 is going to be not building a relationship with the bank. I talk about this ad nauseum because it is extremely important, but you want to make sure that you are building a relationship with the bank. But what does that look like? Well, that looks like you want to have consistent deposits that you're making into a bank every single month, right? For at least minimum 3 to 6+ months before you apply for funding. Most banks are very relationship based. So for example, a bank like Ameris Bank, you don't necessarily need to build a relationship with them to get 10 to 15K. But if you want to maximize how much money you get with a bank, let's say like a Citizens Bank. Citizens is a very relationship heavy bank, right? They care a lot about building relationship. Chase, I know, is another one where the relationship that you have with them can play a very large role in how much capital you get access to. Making those deposits is going to be super duper important when it comes to maximizing how much capital that you can get access to. So I would say you don't need a lot of money. You just need consistent deposits. I'd rather you deposit $50 to $100 into an account every single month than $1,000 one time and then just forget about it, right? So making sure that you're making those consistent deposits while also making sure that you are have the profile in place on the personal side as well. Because when you have the profile and the credit and everything else plus the deposits, now you're in position to maximize how much capital you can get access to. Mistake number 5 is going to be prioritizing national banks over regional banks. So everyone knows Chase, everyone knows Wells Fargo, everybody knows Bank of America. These are great lenders, but these are tier 1 national lenders. And what do I mean by tier 1? So most of you guys don't know, but there are 4 tiers of banks, right? So you have national banks, you have regional banks, you have credit unions, and you have subprime financial institutions. Everyone loves Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, but the thing is these lenders work with multi-billion-dollar corporations that do millions of dollars in transactions through their accounts every day. So when you come to them with your startup, it's not that they don't want to work with you, but you really pale in comparison to their average clientele. Whereas with regional banks, they don't have that kind of pull, so they have to give you the money that you're looking for. They're more inclined to do so because they want to take your business away from Chase, Wells Fargo, and all these other different lenders. So you can use that as leverage to go ahead and build relationships with these lenders and maximize how much capital that you're going out and getting access to, which is why I'm a very big proponent of regional banks over national banks. Next one that you have after that is going to be not using funding resources. So there's 3 I'm going to recommend for you guys in this video. The first one is going to be Help Me Build Credit. So for you guys who don't know, Help Me Build Credit, as you can see on screen, is it's pretty much like a crowd-sourced database where you could look into different credit cards and learn a lot more about, like, hey, you know, for other people who've applied for that card, data points that they've had, what credit reporting agency to pull from. So let's say, for example, we wanted to apply for the Chase Business Preferred card, which I believe I have. You would come here to the card, and if you scroll down, you can actually look at the average credit score most people had, what's the approval to denial ratio that most individuals have seen all time based on the information they're providing, the average credit limit they're getting, what's the average credit reporting agency they pull from, and what's the credit limit range that you're typically able to get approved for. So you can see for this card, it's $3,000 to $75,000, right? And you're able to do this not just for Chase cards, but also several other business credit cards from different lenders as well. So Help Me Build Credit is great because for those people who want to know, like, who asks the question of like, hey, how do I find out where banks pull from? Help Me Build Credit answers that question. Then you have websites like Bank Branch Locator and iBankNet.com. These are great resources for just finding lenders. So iBankNet shows you credit unions and banks in whatever state you live in. So let's say you live in Cali, you're able to see every bank, every credit union, every federal savings association in the state, right, as shown here. And Bank Branch Locator allows for you to do the same, but it only allows for you to do for banks. So let's say you live in Texas, come here to Texas Bank, and let's say you live in Houston, right? So you can see every bank from Amegy Bank to Amerit, American, B1, Bank of America, list goes on, their address, contact information, so that you can start going out and building relationships with them. So you could use Help Me Build Credit Bank Branch Locator and iBankNet to find the lenders, Help Me Build Credit to figure out where they pull from, and then from there, you're now creating funding sequences to maximize your capital approvals. Mistake number 7 is going to be applying with no strategy or funding sequence. So this is a big place where most people fail, right? You have banks in mind, but you don't have a sequence or strategy, which is why these 3 resources I provided were just so important. So you don't know what bureaus they pull from. You don't know which banks share underwriters. You don't know which banks should go first in your sequence, how many applications your profile can handle before, you actually start hurting it more than you're helping it, and how to diversify your pulls. Right? You want to make sure that you structure a sequence that protects your credit, that spreads your inquiries out so you don't get too many on one credit report, and maximizes approvals, which is why I said you would use Bank Branch Locator and iBankNet to find the banks, Help Me Build Credit to check bureau pulls, and then you organize using these 3 resources based on, okay, which of these lenders pull Experian, which pulls Equifax, and which ones pull TransUnion. That way you're able to build relationships with these banks effectively, but then also apply in branch wherever it's possible. But family, that's the end of this video. If you haven't already and you're interested in learning more about how to get access to business funding, I actually host a free masterclass where I teach you how to restore your credit, structure your business, and get access to capital. The link for that class is going to be in the description below. Or if you want to work with me and my team to get your credit in position so that it can be leveraged to get access to capital, head over to takeoffinancial.com. That's takeoffinancial.com. The link for that is going to be in the description below. As always, my name is Marv Francois, and I'll see you guys on the other side of success. Peace.